Welcome once again. And of course, in the midst of all the conversations on politics, we still have a little bit of time to talk about sports across Africa and across the world. And this morning, it's time for us to get into the world of sports. Good morning to you, Oyinye.
Good morning.
Yesterday, you tried to terrorize me with the Manchester United, conversations, but we're back again this morning, and we hope we have less of it.
That does not mean that you will be terrorizing me today, of course, but I will still terrorize you anyway. Good morning, Olive. Now it's time to take you to the world of sport. Let's start off from the English Premier League, where a magnificent performance from James Maddison helped Leicester City earn their first win of the season in style with a 4-0 win over Nottingham Forest. So the Foxes opened their scoring at about 25 minutes as Maddison showed from a distance, took a wicked deflection of Scott McKenna, wrong footing for Dean Henderson into that Forest goal. Now, Leicester City are the last team in the season's Premier League to register a win, with the Foxes testing victory for the very first time in 8 games played. Of course, they've got 1 draw, 6 defeats since that 4-1 home defeat to Southampton in May. Now, it's a great one to see that Brendan Rodgers can now heave a sigh of relief, picking up his first win in yesterday's game against Nottingham Forest. We've got some Africans who were showing yesterday, but none picked a goal. To analyze this game with us and see that Brendan Rodgers is out of pressure from the Foxes, we've got Favour Itua joining us all the way from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Thank you, Favour, for standing by, joining us on the show today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Oyinye, for having me. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Favour. Would say Leicester City finally have recorded their first win for the 2022-2023 season. It's great to see that Brendan Rodgers believed before that game, and they did come true for him. So his belief did come true for him, and he won against Nottingham Forest, regarding his first win for the season. What was the secret to that change in Leicester performance yesterday against Nottingham Forest?
Well, why everyone is celebrating Leicester City, I would say they played against a side who have not been formidable this season. Nottingham Forest have been having series of defeats back to back to back. This defeat ensured that they have their 5th defeat of the season. And for Leicester City, I think this is not, in as much as a win was needed, at least to, help the team push forward. This is their first win of the season. But it met a side who are yet to understand themselves. Having signed 23 players this past summer transfer, they're still yet to understand the chemistry. They're still yet to blend. Steve Cooper has not yet understood who will give him that balance in the team. And for Leicester, I mean, it's a good time to play Nottingham Forest. But then you also need to salute the character of Leicester City, talking about the likes of James Maddison, who has indeed, anytime the goals come for Leicester, he has always been involved in the goals, in as much as Leicester are yet to get a win until last night. So you need to also celebrate the fact that the team were resilient yesterday. They took the game to Nottingham Forest. And I think the change in that particular game yesterday was the miss from Taiwo Awoniyi. Taiwo Awoniyi missed an opportunity to put Nottingham Forest in front, and that indeed punished Nottingham Forest as Leicester City, got the first goal. For Brendan Rodgers, he has been under a series of issues, no thanks to the fact that they were not really active in the transfer market. They lost some key players like Kasper Schmeichel, Wesley Fofana to Chelsea. So it was not really, nice for him not to being able to replace those players. But then the night we would always remember as, that will go down as one of the biggest wins for Leicester since December 2021. Why for Nottingham Forest? This is their biggest defeat since 2004 January. So all in all, we saw something that was good yesterday for Leicester. They needed to just leave the table. They needed to just do something magical. And you could see the fans chanting yesterday like they won the league. That is how important a win is for Leicester City and also for the Nigerians in the team. Not also forgetting other Nigerians in Nottingham Forest. It's more like replacing the last team for the other team. Because in the other side, Taiwo Awoniyi, Emmanuel Dennis will not be happy that their team has lost for the 5th time in a row this season. But for Leicester, they'll be happy. I mean, we have a win. We can just use that to push forward and then see what comes out of it.
Okay, on screen we could see that Kelechi Iheanacho was in action yesterday but couldn't get a goal for Leicester. The return of Wilfred Ndidi also brought excitement to Nigeria, especially the Super Eagles failed. But we did see a no-show too from Awoniyi, Taiwo, and Emmanuel Dennis too was not in action for Nottingham Forest. But we'll say that Brendan Rodgers was listed as one of the coaches that would have gotten a sack letter before even Wolverhampton Wanderers coach. But right now, do you think these results will bring a turnaround in the season and maybe give the Leicester board more faith in the coach?
Yeah, for me, I think if Brendan Rodgers, would have been, if Brendan Rodgers was sacked before now, I think it would have been very unfair because, like I said, he was not given the money to sign. This is the same manager who did a lot last season to ensure the team, push forward and see if they could go, make European sport, which of course they did not do. And then sacking him would have been unfair. So for Brendan Rodgers, he's a good coach. He's a top coach. He has done a lot also for the team. Not also forgetting what he did when he was at Rangers, in Scotland. So their lack of transfer activity would have really given Brendan Rodgers that, bit of, fresh air to say, okay, let me relax a bit, or let me just allow him stay a bit and then see what happens. Then look at the market right now. How many coaches or top coaches are available, and how many would be willing to coach Leicester City? So you look at all these things put together, you then see that Leicester City will just have to have faith in Brendan Rodgers and see how they can, be patient and have him just coach the team and see how things go out. And trust me, their patience is definitely counting at the moment. I think sometimes a team needs to be patient, especially when you have not put in the necessary measures. For instance, if Steve Cooper is sacked for Nottingham Forest, I would not be surprised because they signed 23 players last season. And trust me, you can't invest in 23 players and then you are still rock bottom in the Premier League.
Okay, let's see the standings right now. There's a bit of a change in the bottom of the English Premier League standings. Yes, Nottingham Forest has now picked the number 20th spot, and we got Leicester City moving to 19th. That's a big of hope for Leicester City after picking their first win. But let's talk about Arsenal. How long do you think Arsenal will stay at the top of the table this season?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of persons talk about Arsenal being, for instance, the popular saying in Nigeria, Idisha Gragra. But I would say something. This is a different Arsenal side. We've seen that they went to the transfer market. They got a prolific striker in person of Gabriel Jesus. They also had some signings. Saliba also came back to the team from loan. I think there's character in the team. This is a team that is ready to do something this season. The only team that might stop them at the moment maybe might be Manchester City. Of course, we know how in-depth the quality is. Look at Arsenal side. Look at every wing in Arsenal now has a replacement. For instance, Zinchenko is at left wing back. If Zinchenko is not played, we have Kieran Tierney. The right back, if Ben White is not played, we have Tomiyasu. So Arsenal definitely will chase, if not for the title, but then they will chase for a place in the Champions League. And I think that Arsenal has all it takes this season to push for a Champions League spot. Maybe the league might be too early for them because of activities in the Champions League, FA Cup, the Carabao Cup. But then Arteta has sort of found a way to galvanize the team, sort of found a way to push the team and then give other teams a run for their money. Trust me, even if Arsenal might not be able to stay up for a long time, they will not be able to drop below that fourth position if anything will happen this season. But then they should also pray that their players are fit. If Thomas Partey is fit all season, if Odegaard is fit all season, Gabriel Jesus, then I don't think anything will stop them from giving Manchester City a run for their money.
Okay, let's cross our fingers and make sure that Arsenal maintain that top spot in the English Premier League. Now, of course, the UEFA Champions League returns again today, and I can hear your voice, Favour, but you still have to run the commentaries. Yes, of course, but let's see the fixtures that we expect to see today. Yes, Napoli will return to action today against Ajax this time, and Liverpool coming from the disappointing showing from the English Premier League, where they now maintain ninth position in the standing for the English Premier League. They will still be in action today against Rangers. Now, that's the game you want to talk about, because we've got Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp saying that they would come around. They would indeed come around. Away from the other group, we go to Group B, where we've got Club Brugge, Atletico Madrid, FC Porto, and Bayern Leverkusen. Away from the other group, we did see Bayern Munich will be back in action today. Are we hoping, one, that Liverpool will turn out and then maybe have their convincing win against Rangers? And two, are we going to hope that Sadio Mane will get his scoring mojo back? Favour?
Yeah, for the game between Liverpool and Rangers, I think for Liverpool, they've been having series of poor performances. They've been struggling for form. For the coach of the side, Jurgen Klopp, I don't think it's right now things are really going well for him. So this will be a game they'll want to come back to winning ways. And for Rangers have not been that formidable since 2 seasons ago, where they won the league with Steven Gerrard. I think they've been struggling. And this is an opportunity for Liverpool to just come back to winning ways. Liverpool will probably want to make this one count. And also, I think they've not been able to live life after Sadio Mane, in as much as, yes, Darwin Núñez was brought in to replace Sadio Mane. So for Liverpool, they just have to make it count this night. They just have to ensure that their fans, once again, will have faith in them, that they can also do something this season. But for Rangers, let's not take anything away from them. They are a young side, but then you also look at that fact that they lost 2 key players in their side. They lost Kevin Bassey. They also lost Joe Aribo, in the team. So it's also like a rebuilding process for Rangers. When I'm talking about Inter Milan, they are also willing to come back to winning ways after they lost, against AS Roma. But then they're playing against the top side too also. So we probably would see the very best of football. And then for Sadio Mane, he got a goal last weekend for Bayern Munich in the German Bundesliga. And I think for Sadio Mane, he's beginning to understand, how things are in the German Bundesliga. And I feel that he'll probably get something. But then remember that where he's playing right now at Bayern Munich, he's most time used as a top striker instead of playing from the flanks. I think that has not really helped his, he's settling down easily at Bayern Munich. So maybe if he could play from the side, but then there's some players that also come from there. We have said Gnabry, we have Leroy Sané, reason why Sadio Mane is being placed at the number 9 position. So you expect him also to score. Victoria Plzen, yes, not a top side in the world, but in their own league, they're a very top side in their league. But then in Europe, they're not like, there when it comes to the top 10 or 15 teams in the world. But then you also look at Bayern Munich as a team that want to turn up in their group this evening and do something remarkable.
All right, thank you so much, Favour, for your analysis over there. We cross our fingers and wait for all your predictions and all what you've tabled down right now. Maybe it might come out and play the way you've just designed. Thank you so very much, Favour, for joining us on the show today.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
All right, they say that this is the time where the boys will be separated from the men and we'll see real football being played in the UEFA Champions League. Yes, I must remind you that Manchester United are not in the UEFA Champions League and some teams will have to be relegated to the Europa League after their poor showing, if they have a poor showing today. Now, that's what update at this time. Olive?
Take a break, from trolling on my... In fact, you know what? Meet me outside the studio. Let's continue this fight.
I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. Thank you so much.